Stone Ocean's anime is over, if you binged it. JoJo Part 9, JoJo Lands, finally has a release date, if you care about that. And my thoughts on these many things happening in the JoJo sphere is... I don't have any. Right now there's no time since I'm kind of busy with work and Christmas vacation, so I have no strong opinion one way or the other. What I do have a strong opinion on, though, is something very relevant to Part 1 Phantom Blood. Yes, Part 1 gets a strange reception across the board from fans. Whether you're like me and you rank it relatively lower, or you're like Critical and you say it's one of your favorites. But if there's one thing about Part 1 that stands out besides the overly buff men, the sexy vampires, and Jack the Ripper popping out of a horse, it would be the magic sunlight karate, known simply as Hamon. Hamon is all it should be known as. Hamon is Hamon. There is no more to it. However, I noticed there's a strong contingency of people who refer to Hamon as Ripple. This is incorrect in every conceivable way, but it's not for the reasons you might think. See, there's this kind of trend that the localized names of some things actively demerit the meaning of the original thing, and JoJo's is pretty infamous for those localizations, specifically in the stand and character names. But honestly, I think this is kind of worse, and I wanted to make this video to explain to you why it is worse. Hamon is the original battle mechanic and power system of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, featured heavily in both Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency. It's a form of martial arts that is deadly to zombies, vampires, and pillarmen by channeling energy like that of the sun into the user's attacks. Hamon is heavily tied to the breathing of a person and the balance they have over themselves, and the situation they're in. Hamon stays primarily rooted in martial arts, but tends to have properties that mimic both electricity and magnetism. As the resident JoJo science guy, I feel like I shouldn't have to say it, but just because light from the sun is an electromagnetic wave, that doesn't mean Joseph and Caesar should be able to turn themselves into literal magnets, but whatever, that's just nitpicking. But explaining why Hamon is Hamon and not Ripple is not nitpicking. I just want to say that I don't necessarily blame anyone for not immediately recognizing the distinction, but there is a significant one that needs to be made. Hamon is not Ripple, and it grinds my gears to hear people and sources of JoJo information claim it to be that when it is not. That's because Hamon inside itself is more than what we realized it is. It's more than just the ripple. Yes, if you throw the word Hamon into Google Translate, it will spit back ripple. But that disregards what's happening with the word's kanji, the literal meaning of the word. Yes, please bear with me for just a moment because what I'm going to explain is really cool and totally blew my mind when I learned about it. So if you don't know, I recently was living in Sendai, Japan for about 2 months on a business trip. And while I understand enough Japanese to get by, order food, hail a taxi, and ask where the bathroom is, one thing I have struggled with is kanji. Japanese has 3 basic alphabets that are commonly used: hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Hiragana is the basic characters and syllables that make up Japanese words. You can write out every word in hiragana and pronounce it, and it's not that difficult to remember. The same goes for katakana. However, katakana is nearly exclusively used for foreign words, like names of people and foreign businesses. When I write down my name, I have to put it in katakana. And then there's kanji, the bane of everyone trying to learn Japanese. Kanji characters were borrowed from the Chinese alphabet, and every single one of them means something. Often multiple things, actually. So I sort of have a love-hate relationship with kanji. On the one hand, it is painfully taxing to memorize every specific use case for the meanings of words and individual ones that you can't sound out just by looking at it. You have to see it in the context of other kanji that you don't know because they have multiple meanings. However, despite many kanji being difficult to remember and having insane numbers of strokes to them, the order in how they're written flows surprisingly well. And as you learn new kanji, based on more of the simpler ones, you can get a better understanding of how to categorize things. Keep in mind, this is just the perspective of a foreigner with 2 years of Japanese under his belt and less than 500 kanji memorized. I certainly still have a lot to learn, but this is the basis for the video. Hamon has a deeper meaning, and it's evident when you look at its kanji. Hamon is primarily a combination of 2 Japanese words, hado and kamon. Hado means wave, undulation, the synchronicity of flow. Undulation really sticks out to me because mathematically it's often used to describe different sine and cosine waves, which are used to represent literally everything in this world. But undulation also invokes a feeling of balance, that things are like a winding road going up and down hills. And kamon means family crest. There are literally too many kanji for me to count that also mean mon when you write them out. But Araki chose this one specifically. I wonder what family crest Hamon is referring to. If only it was literally pasted on the character's shoulders. This might be a small example of how much can be lost in translation when you read literally anything from Japan. It's certainly a balance to manage keeping the original meaning of something, but also not having the dialogue become bloated and stilted when trying to capture the literal essence of a word or phrase. But Hamon could literally mean waves of that family, which opens up a new can of worms on realizing what that extrapolates to in the greater context of JoJo's as a series. A history flowing in a pattern, a continuation, and undulation. Or you could be a bozo and just call the power system Ripple, the average Ripple enthusiast versus the average Hamon enjoyer. The worst part about using the word Ripple in place of Hamon is that to a Western audience, Hamon can mean literally anything you want it to mean, because it is just a word that you made up for the power system in this universe. Hamon carries with it no expectation to a Western audience, because it's just Hamon. It's perfect for a localization. Then you have Ripple. Oh, if I throw a stone in the water, it makes a ripple. Oh, if you smack the ass of a big titty goth girl, it's gonna make a ripple. We know what ripples are, and they're underwhelming. There is no deeper meaning to the word ripple because it's a simplification that has lost all meaning in it. And that's why you shouldn't believe people that fancy themselves as the authoritative sources on these topics, especially when it comes to something written halfway around the world. I don't claim that my opinions are the correct ones. I am just an enjoyer, doing my own digging, reading, and liking of this series, and talking about it to you guys. Like, you can use the word ripple if you want, but I'm just here to present an argument for why it is infinitely less cool than using the word Hamon. Which is why I find it so delightfully ironic that the JoJo Wiki, a good source of many things JoJo to be sure, would translate Hamon as ripple. But Sendo in Sendo Hamon Overdrive literally as the way of the hermit. I get it, cause Hamon warriors are like monks, and oh my god! Did we make a Joseph Joestar reference cause his stand is hermit purple? Well, yeah, sure, those things are cool, but you totally disregarded the meaning of Hamon just to get to that point. But I guess since Will Zeppeli stood in a river when he explained it and Hamon's made ripples, then we'll just stick with ripple and I'll call it a day, shut book, end of story. I know this kind of turned into a little rant, but I wish I knew about this in JoJo's earlier, because it gave me a deeper meaning and appreciation for something that I kind of saw as forgettable compared to stands and the spit. And while I don't think the guys on JoJo Wiki like me too much, I do recommend using their site as a good baseline for JoJo knowledge. And if you guys wanted to reverse Uno card this Hamon redirecting to Ripple page on your site, that would be pretty dang cool if it made Ripple redirect to Hamon, but I'm not holding my breath. Anyways, I hope you all learned something valuable with this video today. I certainly did. It just amazes me that I've been enjoying this series for over 7 years now, and I'm still learning about things. And I think I'll be doing more of this searching into JoJo's deeper meanings in the near future. So please let me know what you think in the comments below. If I have any subscribers from Japan who want to leave suggestions for other words or things I could talk about from the series, definitely let me know. This is just one thing I found when I was studying kanji in Japan, and it was kind of crazy. So stay tuned to the channel, because in the new year, I'll have this video about all the crazy, wacky, awesome merch that I found for JoJo's in Japan. Have a beautiful doing, and I'll see you all next time.